Come on, come on, come on, come on in. Yeah, yeah. Tough forum coming right back at you one more again. A pleasant good evening to everybody outside in the viewing land, listening land. Here we are again, coming to you for another Wednesday Gwaan, the midweek catch up. All right. December 21st, folks, and the year is winding down. Last month of the year, just past the midway mark. And this weekend was another doozy. Men are still dying. Men are still dying. So we're used to having mass shootings happening across the border, south of us in the States. But woke up on Monday morning and heard of a mass shooting that happened just about 45 minutes from me up in Gwaan, where 6 people lost their lives, 5 to the shooter, and the shooter himself lost his life. The world is in trouble, people. When you think that it can happen or won't happen near you, it does happen. And here we are, a couple days later, reeling in the news and seeing what's really happening. Yeah, so how does it start now? First, I'd like to say, my condolences to the family members and all the family for the victims that lost their lives in this senseless shooting over the weekend. Can't even imagine what the family's going through right now at a time like this. We're going into our Christmas time, a time where families get together, and this is going to be one of those time of year now every year that it will be infamously known or remembered as a time of tragedy instead of a time of joy. Yeah, this it just goes without saying that violence happens in every age group and in every gender. And the stories I'm bringing tonight are nothing new, but it's just disheartening, it's unbelievable, it's mind-blowing, it just makes you shake your head, it makes you say wow, makes you say what kind of world are we living in? What kind of people are we living amongst? Wow. So on the weekend, going to work on Monday, and I hear on the news that a mass shooting happened up in Vaughan. I'm like, okay, what's this mass shooting? What are we talking about here? And we find out that 5 individuals were shot in a condo building in a very nice area that you probably wouldn't expect this to happen. Um, a 73-year-old man, disgruntled individual, for whatever reason, not happy with his living accommodations and was a member of a condo board, proceeded to shoot 3 members of the condo board, 2 couples, and 3 other people that were not a part of the board. And eventually the police officer a police officer ended the situation, which could have been worse if they didn't stop this individual and shot him to his death. So we have people that are in their mid and late stages of life, late 50s, 70s, 60s, all shot because this individual felt he was wronged by the condo board, by the condo. They were trying to get him out. Apparently, he had alleged incidents with residents where he was surveilling them. And I'm sure plenty of us have seen individuals like this who just seem to take ownership of the entire block, the neighborhood, the entire building, like as if it's like they're the owners or something, man. Anything happens, they want to tell you how to live, basically, how to walk, how to move in that building or in that space. Does that mean though that everyone that is that neighborhood person that we got to start watching out for them? Does it mean that everyone that seems to be a little nosy Nancy, that we got to be careful? Sorry for any offense to any Nancys out there. But it's a sad time that someone in their late stage of their life felt that this was the best way to, I don't know, I don't know. They felt that this was the way they were going to unleash their anger or their grief, their grievance, and just end somebody's life. Pretty selfish, pretty horrible, and just plain evil. And I'm sick and tired of actually hearing how we attribute so many things to mental issues. This person that I'm hearing and seeing going to court and articulate himself on videos sounds like someone who's very coherent, sounds like someone who um, is on the ball and may not have had anything mentally wrong with him. Yes, he may have been disturbed, may have been angered, even agitated. But I think that happens with all of us. And that doesn't make us have a mental issue per se. But I think we got to come to terms with it that there's just some evil people within the world. There's just some people in the world that are evil. And their intentions are for self and self gratification. And if they're not getting their own way, no one else is going to have that way. And this might be one of those incidents. So it's a sad time for families out there that have lost loved ones, and it's a sad time to see that we're living among human beings who are not acting like humans. So yes, we lost a couple more male figures. We lost some females at the hands of a male. Men still are dying, men still are killing men, men still are killing women. When's it gonna stop? When are we gonna give our head a shake as men and say, listen, man, I gotta find a better way to air my frustration, vent, like, is it that we have to have communication? Is it that we have to have conflict management at every stage in our public school system, right through on into university? Is it that we need to have conflict management as a continuous part of the curriculum? Because it seems like we do not know how, or a lot of us do not know how to handle conflict, how to deal with unpleasant situations without resorting to violence. The violence that I'm seeing in these past years months, weeks, it's just ridiculous. It seems trivial. It seems like people put a tag on mental issue for someone taking their life that seems to have a good life ahead of them. One day they're dancing, next day they're shooting themselves in the head. And we have to say, whoa, what's happening here? I mean, years past, we've seen comedians take their own lives. We've seen people go into clubs and schools and just shoot people. So there's evil in the world. We know this. Are these people necessarily mentally ill? I think we got to stop this, man, and call evil for evil, man. There's evil in the world. The devil is a real being, a real entity, a demonic force. Evil is present and is taking over people who are susceptible or who let themselves be vulnerable because they're not aware of the anger and where it's leading to. Like I said, we all get angry, we all get mad, but I think some of us can channel it another way. Maybe we're in sports, maybe we have a gym to go to. And for those who don't, I still believe there's other ways. Take a walk, take a jog, take a breather, take a breath, swallow your saliva, reflect, think about what you're going to do before you do it. But what I'm seeing happening is that there's just no regard for life, there's no regard for other people's lives when you are the one that has been harmed, shunned, or disrespected, or whatever. But we never gave life, and we surely don't have the right to take life. That's my take on that. So, 73 years old, it's not the regular you hear in the 21s, 25, 30, 40s, etc. We've heard in a couple last months or so, as young as 15, 14, 16-year-old boys and stuff charged with second degree, first degree murders. So it ranges from every age group. So today on the Wednesday Gwaan, the midweek catch up, our first topic was the mass shooting. Then the next day, breaking news as I'm driving at work, and I hear on the news, breaking news, breaking news. 8 females charged with second degree murder. I was like, what? Now, in a lot of my episodes, I talk about the fact that males are always the risk takers. Males are always the ones that seems to be predominantly doing or committing these crimes of violence, and there is still sprinkled in there one or two female. But when I heard 8 females charged for second degree murder, I literally had to like turn up the radio, pull over, and say, what am I hearing? Then it got worse. It got to the point where we heard the ages. And the ages range from 13 to 16. Yes, 3 13-year-old girls, 3 14-year-old girls, and 2 16-year-old girls. They call it a swarming. They weren't from the same neighborhoods, they were from various parts of the city. Apparently, they allegedly contacted or linked up with each other through social media and proceeded to meet downtown Toronto. Yes, in a place where plenty of us have frequented, have passed through, have walked, have traveled, and could have seen this happening right in front of our eyes and would be like, what am I looking at? But as the story allegedly goes, they all met up and they started to antagonize some woman, apparently for her alcohol, according to her own testimony. And then one of her friends came over to stand in the gap, so to speak, to come and say, "Listen, hey, listen, just leave her alone." And they just turned their attention to him and swarmed him and started slashing and stabbing. I don't know what weapon they had, but nonetheless, the bleeding was coming from his face. Even the friends were saying that they thought, okay, he got hurt bad and he was cut, but the man succumbed to his injuries and he died. And now you have, and I understand it that these girls didn't even run or leave the area. They were just standing around, and finally they were arrested. And now eight lives are forever changed. Nine lives are forever changed. 10 lives are forever changed because if you're including even his friends, one will never come back because he's dead. Another man dead. This time at the hands of some young girls. I mean, what were you doing at 13? Where could you have been after midnight at 13 years old, 14 years old? I don't know what parents does not know where their kid is at, their child is at 12 p.m. I don't know if they're troubled youth. I don't know what the story is here, but maybe I'll do a follow up on it. But it's just a sad situation right now. 8 charges of second-degree murder for these young teenage girls. People, if you don't think that we're in trouble, that we're in a serious time of evil, a serious time of perplexed individuals that do not know how to articulate themselves, that do not know anything about compassion, then you need to give your head a shake. You need to take a look at what's happening around you. Evil is forever present. And I'm tired of shunning and brushing it off with just simple talks of mental illnesses, especially when we don't have any solution to what we're doing to help these people with these issues. There's people out here plotting to do bad in our societies, and we're not talking about that evil. We're not talking about morals. We're not talking about good parenting and bad parenting and the condoning of bad behavior and giving leeway to children who can't even govern themselves. Discipline on a whole has lost its meaning. Discipline on a whole, I believe even parents don't understand what discipline is and what variations there are, it seems like, because, you know, in my day, I guess my parents and grandparents, their ideology of discipline was probably heavy-handed and more with the strap, the belt, the switch, the hand. But nowadays, there's seems to be, I don't know, more leniency, I guess, when it comes to discipline. And I'm not saying that you should be always on that heavy-handed tip. I don't think it made me worse, but I think there has to be more than one way to discipline your child when they do wrong, and acknowledge the wrong and address the wrong, and not always be in defense and believe that, well, what you were doing at 13 is the same thing what these people doing at 13. These kids are on a different wavelength, and I have not seen the violence as I've seen it in today's time. So random, so out of control, and younger, and a total disregard for life. That you can kill a man and still stand around like as if it was nothing. And let's say you didn't even know he died, or he was on the verge of death. You inflicted serious pain with something that you know has caused damage. I mean, blood has been shed. People, I don't know. Tonight, I'm really perplexed with what's happening around us. Not that I haven't been perplexed more, but it's like I've seen it all now, man. I've seen 8 young girls, 13, three of them, 13, 14, three of them, 16. The blind leading the blind. 73-year-old man lived a long life and now no longer with us, and has taken out some people who did not deserve to die. And I say did not deserve to die because I don't know who gave us the right to ever believe that we can tell somebody that it's time for them to die. But that's a whole other topic. But those two stories is enough for me to just shake my head tonight and let you know that's what's going on around the city in the T dot. Not America, but Canada. In the T dot, in the Vaughan areas, in the suburban areas. People, we gotta change. We gotta change. We have to make a change. We have to make a difference within our young people and our old people. We need to talk more. We need to settle some things. We need to recognize that we're not perfect, but we need to come to a solution, even when the situations look very, not in our favor, or we're just in a disagreement. We should be able to have uncomfortable conversations and still come out with a resolution, or if not, come out with our lives. Come out without dying. Come out without having to go to from fist to cuffs to gun and knife play, and oh man, terrible. December 21st, and we still have another 2 weeks or so for the new year. And I'm gonna continue doing this until the year is out, because I'm sure something else is gonna come up again. That's just how it's been. Every day another baby's born, every day someone dies. And still we talk about it that men are dying. People, be careful out there, man. Be vigilant, be sober, be mindful that God is watching over you, but the enemy is still fighting. The enemy is still trying to seek and devour, because he is the accuser of the brethren, as the Bible says. We need a little more God in our world. We need to talk a little more about God. All this shutting down the God talk. Yeah, you see, well, this is where we are now. It's in our face. Let's talk about the evil then if you don't want to talk about God. But once you talk about evil, you're going to have to talk about the God. We need to get back to the place where we say good over evil and not just accept it. Well, this is another episode of the Wednesday Gwaan. Until we catch up back again next week, or until God spares our life again and you see each other. Good. Keep your head up. Don't be discouraged. I may sound discouraged, but I'm more disappointed. And I'm still optimistic that we can change. We can be the change. We can make change. All right, people. Until we link up the next time. This is Drew signing off. All right, peace and one love.